It's
But
not
yeah,
just you. My stream dropped. Okay,
okay. So
and we're back. And we're back, I think.
I think now is the time to wrap up. You can probably do some inventory management and buying more stuff off stream, or do whatever you want to do. But
Yep.
generally, if it doesn't include plot progression or battles, I generally do all this other stuff off stream so that
Yep. Yeah, that makes
I'm
sense.
ready to go next time.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, I'll see about taking care of that afterwards. But yeah, so since it's almost half past your pumpkin time, we're gonna call Shining Force for tonight here. So I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by, Dover. It's always a pleasure to have you on your stream. I'm really happy on my stream, and I'm always happy to be on your stream, of course, as well. So whilst we wait, you can feel free to plug yourself once more for the audience.
First of all, thank you for the invitation. It was a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to next time.
You know it.
As for me, this is Dover of your New Dover Port Trade Commission. I can be found here on Saturdays at 9 a.m. Central Time. I play Vandal Hearts. On Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Time, I am joined by one Jinxie Rose, where we are playing Dragon Warrior 4, the original NES version. And on Thursdays at around 4 p.m. Central Time, I am joined by Working Class Werewolf, and we are currently playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist, Link something or other. I forget what it's called now.
Hang on, I got you, fam. It is Legacy of the Duelist, Link Evolution.
That's the one. Stop making these names so long. But never mind. Point being, we've been having a good time with that.
We have.
Almost as good of a time as we've been having with this.
Oh,
So,
yes.
but anyway, that's me. So drop on by if you got the time.
All
Back
right.
to you.
Thank you, WC Werewolf is here, and thank you, Dover, for joining us. And with that, you can be on your merry way, and I might stick around for a little longer. So,
All right.
don't anybody go anywhere. We'll be doing a little bit more streaming in just a little bit.
Sure enough, I will duck out. Peace, everybody.
Take care. Alright, and we are coming back once again. So, seeing as we still got some time before I usually decide to call it, I'm gonna give us a little extra something to do and pick up where we left off reading. Oh yes. We are going to be heading back into the forest tonight with more Werewolf the Apocalypse, Heart of the Forest. So, hope you're all ready for that. I don't know that I am. God, last time it got, like, really intense. We still fucking lost Anya tragically, but it is what it is. And, then we discovered a bunch of different things about the, resident Garou. And we also learned that we're apparently descended from Geta Fenris, and, that's frowned upon. But, yeah, let's jump right back into it then, shall we? Alright, let's see. Oh, let's get rid of, no, not me. I still need to be here. Let's try this. Hopefully this works. Here we go. Alright, let's turn this down a little bit so that I can be heard better. So let's maybe move the mic over a bit, so it's slightly closer to my, my mouth. All right. So, without further ado, let us get right back into the forest. The plan. Alright. Sorry, I'm just gonna get myself a little more set up here. There we go. Now I can see chat a little better. Let's really work on getting a chat screen, but that's fine. My setup's fine. Alright, let's go. What the fuck was that? I woke up in my bed in the B&B, and for a moment, the whole werewolf business had been a dream. Then I looked at Anya's empty bed. exactly how she'd left it the morning we went to see the protests. She was dead. Definitely dead. The reality of the situation hit me. Anya was dead. I'd kill her. We can't prove that! There were unanswered messages on my phone. Have you seen Anya? I'm worried. Bartek. I'm gonna get angry. Looking over my shoulder, I packed up her things. I ran the plan over in my head. I had to check us both out. Then Pat had promised to take care of the rest. She said she'd use her favors with some network spirits and hack Anya's phone. It would log into some towers in Germany and the Netherlands, ping the social networks a few times, and before anyone noticed anything was amiss, there would be nothing to tie the disappearance to us. My hands were trembling. Oh yeah, no, we have to actually cover up a murder now. Great. Wonderful. Who had I become? My hands were trembling and I was sweating bullets. Fuck! I punched the door and my hand went straight through the wood, splinters digging deep into my flesh. And then I lost it. Shift. I was Krynos, the war form. The pain hits me like a wrecking ball. Every bone in my body breaks and moves and resets. I roar in agony. Panting and growling, I rise and rise and rise. I am an 8-foot-tall killing machine. I am sad and hurt my friend is dead. I wail, overcome with guilt, and window panes shatter. The shards of glass glimmer in the sun. I smash the room to pieces. I smash the wardrobe. One flick of my wrists, and the wardrobe turns into a cloud of splintered wood. I break the bed. I lift the bed and smash it against the floor. I wreck the room. I punch holes in the walls. I smash the windows. I tear Anya's things to pieces. Stop it! Someone shouts through the door. I'm calling the police! I change back. I have to stop. I change back. Listening to the shots and the distant sirens, I quickly packed what remained of my things. What was I thinking? I asked my reflection in a shard of a broken mirror. Obviously, I wasn't. I shrugged. Whatever the answer was, it was now Maya the werewolf's problem. Maya the student was dead. I took my bag and left. Well, this is a fine pickle. I dropped my bags in the camp and ran through the plan one more time. They expected me to act like a galliard, but we'd also discuss plans, other plans, both more physical. Well, let's go act like a galliard then. We needed something to boost morale and bring us some good PR. I had my idea of live streaming a day in the Pushcha and was met with enthusiasm. I'm planning it with Kim. Kim proposed that Daniel take us to the old wolf den. The route was scenic. The story of the stolen cubs was touching, and it showed how people, even when they meant well, could disturb the natural balance. Kim left Daniel with me to work out the details. I'm not going anyway, they said. I'm more of a city animal. We needed some extras on set. We needed authentic human emotions, so we asked some of the activists to join us on the trail. Finally, we were ready. Planning it all took a few days, but finally we were ready. We gathered the crew and set off well before the sunrise. Live streaming. It was early morning. The forest was a mosaic of light and shadow that day, playful and mysterious. If we hadn't been with Daniel, I'd have gotten lost immediately, chasing the rays of sunlight and dancing in the shadows. We started the live stream. Before we set off, Pat gave me, as she called it, a spirit-enhanced router. I turned it on and we started live streaming. Our adventures. I could feel warmth deep in my body. The Pushcha was glad we were there, and made sure our walk was pleasant, nudging the wind towards us when it got too hot, and making the sunlight more golden on the leaves. I enjoyed every minute. I felt good in the forest, and just enjoyed myself. That's probably why I was caught unprepared. The spirits were awfully quiet. Since the change, I'd been able to feel the spirits, like faint voices somewhere in the back of my head. White noise. But now they were quiet, waiting. Wolves, I realized. I could hear their steps, their paws gently treading between old leaves and fallen branches. I briefly wondered what they were doing so close to humans. The wolves usually kept to themselves. But there was more. There was something more in the air. A tone in their breathing and their smell. Something old and angry and grieving and familiar. Then I saw her, the Wolf Mother. A pack of wolves followed her, spirit-ridden, their eyes smoldering. "Stay as you are, cub," she said gently. "You swore to let me have my revenge." I felt my blood become hot, my body shift. I have not chosen a tribe as of yet, I don't think, Nyx. I could just stay human. Not interfere, let her kill some random people, and have her revenge. The thought crossed my mind. I changed. Okay, let's see. Lupus is the wolf form, a majestic animal, and looks great on camera. I'm gonna go with Loop and see if I can get a better communication going with the wolves. I was Lupus, the wolf form. I doubled down in pain. My arms and legs cracked and twisted. My skull fractured and reset itself in a different shape. Fragments of bones crawling under the skin. My skin was ripping and sprouting fur. I howled in agony. When the pain subsided, I was Lupus, a wolf, seeing the world in sounds and smells. The world went gray, but the smells were colorful and stronger than ever. Wolves aren't colorblind! I made sure to run in front of the camera. The live stream needed good content after all. And then right to the wolves, my hair standing on end, my teeth bared. The pack ran through the forest, single-mindedly focused on their prey, not paying attention to anything else. I made some noise. I jumped in their path, growling, and they stopped and surrounded me. I attacked the leader. I jumped toward the leader and bit into her side. She yelped. I jumped back and saw that all 5 wolves were now fixated on me. I'd gotten their attention all right. Now I need to be as quick as the wind. I ran! I ran like the devil was after me. The Pushcha was on my side. A wolf pack isn't a match for a werewolf, though, especially if the werewolf is friends with the Pushcha herself. The wolves couldn't quite catch up with me, and I played with them for some time until I was sure Daniel had finished the job. The stream was a success. The internet was on fire, and Pushcha Białowieska suddenly became a trending topic. I was slightly envious of Daniel's fame. I was kind of envious of Daniel's fame and the influence his story was having on people. I knew my work was important. I knew that if it hadn't been for me, the stream would have ended in tragedy. But damn, I wanted that. I wanted to tell people stories that would move them that much. But still, I got what I wanted. Good job, Cornell Sell, when we met that evening. And a great job it was. I couldn't wait for the Sept meeting that morning. And the New Age music, apparently. The streaming was my rite of passage, and I knew that I did great. I couldn't believe that I made it so far. We met soon after the sunrise. We met soon after the sunrise on the same clearing where I woke up for the first time as a Garou. Lisa looked at us all and smiled. Our patrons were looking at her expectantly, so she stepped towards the center of the clearing. I am the Theurge of this Sept, and I'm here to make sure we do things the right way. She turned to me and I held my breath. Maya, come forth. Are you a cub who seeks recognition as an adult? I answered. I am, I answered solemnly. Are you an applicant to a tribe? Lisa asked again. I confirmed. I am, I answered. Who speaks for the cub? Lisa looked at her septmates. I do, Daniel said, stepped forward. I am Fargaze of the Red Talons! Galliard of the Morning Wolf Mother Pack, I observed the cub on her mission, and I'm here to tell the story? Red Talons? Uh-oh! I don't think I can join them! Then again, in 5e, you can apparently just be whatever you want, so maybe I can. Not that I want to. So would I have to take a new name? I guess they all had secret werewolves names. Made sense. A new life demanded a new name. Would I also have to take a new name? Has the cub passed her challenge? I'm holding my breath. I don't know if now's the time for me to speak. I knew how it all happened, but I held my breath nevertheless. She succeeded, was the answer. But it was pure luck. She's not ready. The Theurge shook her head. She succeeded, and that means she's ready. Have you chosen your name? Lisa turned to me. My new secret name. Suddenly I remembered my grandfather talking about his old friends. He never used their real names. They were always Thunder or Gray or Needle. I'd always thought it was a guerrilla thing, some kind of war names. Now I wasn't so sure anymore. How to capture my whole life, my aspirations, my personality, my heritage in one name. I cleared my throat. Let's see. Mist. A name with more than one meaning. This, which is Polish for song, and I have no idea how to pronounce. Pine, a tree in the forest. Enigma, a mystery. See, this one seems a bit more fitting. But I am also having trouble figuring out how to pronounce it. Also, I think it seems a bit on the nose, so I think I might spring for Enigma. It also seems a bit fitting as we're kind of trying to figure a lot of shit out. Maya Enigma Borodich. My new name is Enigma, I answered, thinking how I was a mystery even to myself. As for the tribe, choosing the tribe was another matter. I want to be a Black Fury, I want to be a Child of Gaia, I want to be a Glasswalker, I want to be a Bone Gnar. I really kind of want to be a Bone Gnar. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be a fucking Bone Gnar, baby! After getting to know all of them better, I decided to become a Bone Gnar. Kim agreed to mentor me. Only one thing remained to end the ceremony and make me a full-fledged Garou. I had to join a pack. As my fate had already been tied with a wolf mother, I chose her as my patient and joined Olga's pack. You know, that's probably for the best. Someone needs to keep Olga in check and cool her fucking tempers. According to the ancient rites, Lisa painted the mystical glyph of my tribe on my sternum. It disappeared after a moment, but whenever I closed my eyes, I could feel its warm touch between my titties. I'm sorry, my breasts. Enigma of the Bone Gnars. Galliard of the Morning Wolf Mother Pack. Welcome to our sept, she said solemnly. And then she howled. Awoo! Howls rose toward the sky. They sang out about ancient laws of war, status, and secrecy. I remembered only a few. Combat the worm wherever it dwells and wherever it breeds, and whenever it breeds. Submit to those higher of station. Respect those beneath you. The veil shall not be lifted. The worm, the manifestation and symbol of evil, entropy, and decay in the Garou belief. I joined the song! I threw my head back and howled with the sept. I was a cub no more. I was ready to tell my own stories, to earn my own place in the pack, to howl my own songs. Short chapter. Still got a bit more time. Let's do another chapter. Actually, we might almost be done with the game. Considering, like, where we are. Hang on. Yeah, we're 90% done. Fuck it. Let's see if we can get through this tonight. Dust to dust. It was one of those blistering summer days when the asphalt melts, the grass withers, and the air smothers those brave enough to step outside. Despite the heat, it felt like the whole village was at the funeral. Don't ruin this moment, timer. God, they're really hammering in this whole fucking Anya's death thing. It was moving. I stood there surrounded by people, weeping over their loss, looking at the rosaries they clutched in their fists. Something tightened in my chest. For a brief moment, for a brief, chilling moment, I thought I saw Anya's face among the crowd. But no. I buried her in the barrows, myself, and nobody there even knew she was dead. It was someone else's funeral. Anya was not the reason we gathered in the churchyard. They found the body of a hunter that had been found in the forest. The circumstances of their death were unclear. It was our doing. It was our doing. My doing. And the death had tipped the scales. I listened to funeral hymns, and I thought that for my every battle-inspiring song, There was an old lady singing Eternal Rest in a trembling voice. I could feel the tension seething around me. This death, this funeral, had pushed the community, already weary and frightened by the recent disappearance of an activist in the forest, to the edge. The world was watching. The press had swarmed to the funeral like flies. I could hear them squawking about eco-terrorism and the aggressive vegan activists. Police had cordoned off the funeral and were aggressively searching and detaining any activists they noticed. It had become political. Typical liberals bringing politics into funerals. Suddenly, Pustia Bialowieska. I am so sorry if I'm butchering that pronunciation. Had become politically charged, and the hottest place to be in Poland. And it wasn't only local politicians and activists from both sides who'd caught who'd caught wind of the commotion. The Minister of the Environment himself had driven to Białowieża to attend the funeral. He was standing next to the priest conducting the ceremony, surrounded by police and what looked like a handful of bodyguards. The coffin went down, and the crowd stirred. Everyone started lining up to throw a handful of dust on the coffin or put flowers on the grave. I found myself face to face with Bartek. Oh, this is gonna be awkward. I got swept by the crowd and found myself face to face with Bartek. There should be another coffin here, because we both know that she's dead. He looked me in the eyes. I really liked Anya, you know? I froze. It must be hard for you. She was your friend, he said. But don't worry. I will find out what really happened. Oh, I'm gonna have to kill you someday, huh? Well, good luck, buddy. Good luck looking for the truth, I said. And be careful. Bartek looked me in the eyes. Funny thing. It's like all the strange things started happening as soon as you all came here. I looked over his shoulder at the crowd. It was clear that many people felt the same way that he did. And the minister knew how to use that sentiment. I listened in disbelief. I watched in disbelief as the priest handed him the mic. He wasn't someone you'd call a good speaker. He spoke at length about the Polish economy, the importance of the free market, the liberty of the people to make money from what God had given them reign over, the earth. And judging by the reactions, it was exactly what the crowd wanted to hear. He was trying to escalate. I realized the conflict was only going to escalate. He was determined to push on with the logging. But we had public opinion on our side, and we were ready to stand our ground. We were ready to defend ourselves. It was high noon. The sun was at its most merciless, and the world was almost white with heat. The air smelled of herbs, bark, and tree sap. Insects buzzed lazily in the high grass, stunned by the summer sun. We were ready for war. We lounged in the shadow of the trees, resting after a busy night. We were ready for war. I warmed up. I was restless, repeating my warm-up routine over and over. There was a fight coming. A fight was inevitable, and I wanted to be prepared. There were so many of us. People kept coming to the camp, asking questions, looking for ways to help students, activists, even Greenpeace with banners reading, "Stop logging, respect the law." The live streaming worked. And respect EU law. They had all seen our live streaming and came there to help. We weren't the only ones in the clearing. A group of local citizens, their banners reading, "Forests save trees from woodworm," and "Forestry equals jobs." We're trying to get the attention of the media. The Pushcha was watching us. Every time a gust of wind was bringing the wet smell of the forest to my nostrils, I felt her strong, steadfast presence. She knew that we were doing everything in our power to save her. I felt the forest's presence. I could feel the immense presence of the forest, whose life was a myriad of smaller lives interconnected into one superorganism. And then I looked at us and them and smiled bitterly, because I realized that both sides of the conflict saw the others as the sickness and themselves as the cure. I looked at the harvesters. I looked at the defaced harvesters waiting on the other side of the clearing. Loggers milled around them like ants over a disturbed anthill. The pressure was almost palpable, and tempers were flaring. I looked at my pack. "Everyone knows what to do?" Olga asked, looking at my pack. "I'll keep the security guards occupied," nodded Lisa. "And I'll guard the Pushcha's perimeter," growled Daniel. I glanced at the weasels. The weasels were in their position among the protesters as agreed. That left the cops to me. I kept my eyes on them. As much as I would love to just kill all the cops, I don't know how good of an idea that is in this instance. "I'll keep my eyes on the cops," I said. "I'll make sure that the activists are safe." "Yeah, that's the plan," said Olganata with a bitter expression. The cops were gathering. The cops were gathering in increasing numbers, and I noticed SWAT teams joining them. Something was up. Of course the cops are gonna start shit! It was apparently something that... It was apparent that they were waiting for something. Then it reached the boiling point. It reached the boiling point when the minister arrived for a photo op. We could use that. I took it as a good sign. We could use his presence to our advantage in more ways than one. Yeah, I'm gonna calm down slightly. Journalists swarmed around him, praising his balanced forestry policy as they steered clear of the ugly harvesters. In hindsight, you could argue that what happened next set off a chain of events in motion that had life-changing consequences for many. But it all started earlier. No, I wasn't wrong. It had all started thousands of years earlier, when the glaciers retreated, when a bird brought the first acorn to where Bialiezo was now, when the first humans decided to settle in the forest. The members of my sept had already moved to their positions. I also had my part to play. The minister was bad news. With him at the scene, everything will get harder, I sighed, pointing at the minister. Olga nodded. I wasn't... Let's go back and regroup. The activist humans and Werewolf listened as we told them what happened. The atmosphere was tense. We started our preparations. We prepared ourselves for the worst-case scenario. "Okay, let's move!" I heard someone shout. "Move it, people, move it! You know what to do!" And they did. There was a lot of laughter and friendly pushing, chains clinking, and some people darted up the trees to seat themselves in the branches. But I'm gonna try and follow this. Nobody saw me. I was Lupus, the wolf form. My arms and legs cracked and twisted. My changed shape, fragments of bones crawling under the skin. My skin was rippling and sprouting fur. I growled and thrashed, Then I was a wolf, seeing the world and yada yada yada. I changed and ran to a police van, then hopped on its roof. I waited till they noticed me. Woof! I waited till one of the journalists noticed me. She nudged her friend, and they soon looked on, scared and whispering among the wolves. When all eyes were on me, I gave them the most iconic of photos. Iconic photo of the protest. I pissed on the car! Oh my god! I really want to. Fuck it, we're pissing on the car. I'm a wolf. What the fuck are you gonna do? Oh, right, everything. Oh, well. And then with all the cameras and smartphones filming me, I pissed on the car. It was loud. It smelled. And it seemed to last for an eternity. And then I jumped out the van and darted into the forest. It worked. Fuck yes. The P of honor! The talk started there and then. I could see that the minister was an apt politician and that he could smell a deal for himself in it all. But I didn't really care. We'd gotten what we wanted. Yeah, I know. You know what? I made the right call. A wolf peeing on a car in the middle of a protest, that is gonna go viral as fuck. That is gonna meme like crazy. Hell fucking yes. We started the talk. When the talk started, we weren't alone. After the live stream, a lot of people had shared their love for the Pushcha. They were coming to us, asking questions, looking for ways to help. So we started talking, and it became big. I don't know what tipped the scales in the end. The press, the international attention, the local interests coming together, our passion. The talks weren't easy. Finally, an agreement was within our reach, but the talks weren't easy. The state forests, the woodworkers, the local population, ecologists, scientists, activists, everyone wanted something. I was by no means an expert, but I wanted to play my part in the proceedings. I made sure the talks were fair. So I decided to observe the talks and make sure everything was okay. Both sides wanted to talk, and I wanted to be there to inspire them to play fair. The talks went on and on. Of course, I had my opinions. Everyone at the scene had their own opinion and their own point of view, and I had mine. Let's take the bark beetle. In the middle of it all was, of course, the spruce bark beetle, a dangerous infestation and convenient excuse for the logging. The beetle had always been a part of the forest ecosystem, pointed out one of the ecologists, but the recent droughts made the spruce more susceptible than ever. Ah, fuck, I hate that I had to... I shouldn't have fucking wished Bartok the best. The forces encountered... We have to cut down the trees to stop a total disaster. I saw one problem with this approach. See, why can't I just say this shit? I didn't trust a word that came out of the officials' mouths. The beetle was not a reason for the logging, it was an excuse. You fetishize the forest, scoffed one of the officials. People cultivated it for hundreds of years, and it cannot survive without our help. He's right! You want to take our forest from us! A group of locals attacked the activists. You're not from here, and you don't tell us how to live our lives! And yet, they unbalance the ecosystem! The problem was that human intervention unbalanced the ecosystem, and if they pushed it any further, they'd lose all that made the Pushcha unique. Opinions clashed, tempers flared, but eventually new constructive ideas started to emerge. At least one of them caught my attention. Yeah, why isn't it a national park? There was a recurring idea to make all forests in the area a part of Bialvieza National Park. The logging would be impossible, but there would be much more money from tourism. It was a long and hot day. I rubbed my eyes. I was so tired, I could barely keep them open. My head was spinning, but I kept going. We got health to spare. But I kept going. I was a little heat struck when so much was at stake. The talks continued. Of course, they had to make it dramatic. There were cameras, there were lights, there were negotiations. There were lights, and negotiations lasted all day long. We reached the first draft of an agreement, literally at sunset. I had no doubts. They'd only decided to stop logging because they realized there was something in it for them. I felt relief. But at that moment, I just looked at the sky and laughed. I felt overwhelming relief. And then my exhaustion caught up with me. I found a quiet spot and sank to the ground and fell asleep. Quiet before the storm. Epilogue. Oh God. Cheering of the crowd woke me up. It was a victory after all. We'd won. The Pushcha was safe. At least for the time being. People were excited, antsy, full of emotions. If the loggers hadn't left, they probably would have charged at them. There was no one to fight. But now there was no one to fight, so we partied instead. Soon, we were all dancing, talking, singing, and in some cases, making out in the shadows. I had to stop someone from making a fire. I mean, for fuck's sake, we were in the middle of the forest during a drought. But my friends didn't join in the festivities. They just sat on the logs, looking at the humans with weary eyes. I joined them. I found my pack. We sat in the shadows, far from the humans. Look at them, murmured Olga. Lousy, messy, stupid. Tomorrow this place will look worse than if we'd let them do their logging. You're probably not wrong. It is depressing, I sighed. Olga looked at them for some time. Well, maybe with time, they'll turn this energy into something more useful. We'll have to wait and see. I wasn't so sure. I wasn't sure if I shared her optimism. Time would tell who was right. We gathered in the clearing in which I'd first woken up, as a Garou. Lisa stood in the middle of the clearing, the wolf and the weasel by her side. Now, she said, looking at Cornell and Olga, you two need to solve this today. Olga nodded. There was sadness in her eyes. You were right, she said to Cornell. I'm sorry. That night, we planned the future. That night was full of hope. That night was long and full of hope, excuse me. Olga and Cornell reached an agreement. Olga talked with Cornell for a very long time, and later that night, they asked us to join them. They decided they wanted to lead our pack together as a leading pair, just like in real wolf packs. Lisa and our patrons made sure that we did right by the Garou law, and the Sept matters were resolved. But more happened that summer. But it didn't cover everything that had happened that summer. But it didn't cover everything that had happened that summer, though. So some consequences would have to unravel with time. Bartek was alive. Despite everything that happened, Bartek managed to see another day. The battle for the forest had sown the seeds of radicalism in the local community, and Bartek was no exception. His father was on the side of the enemy, and with the influence he had over Bartek, I had the feeling they would both die at my hand one day. Oh darn! But it was all still ahead of me. For now, the first chapter of my new life was coming to an end. I'd come here to meet the forest. I breathed in the smells of the forest. I sat under the oak tree with my back against its trunk. I saw a squirrel running away with an acorn. The forest didn't care, I thought. Not really. It just did what it did best. Grow. That was what the forest really cared about. Your story is almost over. This might be a good time to take a look at your character sheet. Yeah, let's see. Healthy. Why? Alright, The clearing was empty and full of sunlight. The harvesters were gone, leaving the scars of their tracks behind. People were cleaning up the campsite, making plans to turn the temporary protest site into a permanent tent town. I took a deep breath. The air was sweet and smelled of coming rain. The upturned soil smelled of turf and the sweet aroma of decay. There would be a storm later that day. I could feel it. A faint, sharp layer of electricity surrounded the wetness. I smiled. I liked my new sense of smell. "This is not the end," said the ash gray wolf. "I assume you know that." It's okay, you had to step away. Not sure where you stepped away from, though. So as for what you missed, basically, we managed to come to a sort of agreement with the logging thing, and the whole forest is now declared a national park, and it's a stalemate for now. There wasn't a big fucking fight. Nobody else had to die. Cornell and Olga are making up, and now we are, we might have to kill Bartek. But, oh darn. And now apparently the Ash Gray Wolf is pissed. Of course I knew that it was just a momentary break, a truce that both sides needed to regroup and reinforce. Yeah, I know. I sighed, looking around. Or maybe someday Bartek turns to the good side. I don't know, Scholar Minerva. As long as he's under the influence of his douchebag father, who's on the side of the fucking loggers, then, I get the feeling that he's gonna choose family over us, and, well, he'll make his choice. I had something else on my mind. There was a squirrel somewhere. I could smell it. Is Bartek Garou? No, Bartek is human. There was a squirrel somewhere. I could smell it. I wanted to chase it, to run, to feel the thrill of adrenaline rushing through my veins. But I couldn't spot it. It mocked me from the branches, squeaking curses in its squirrel tongue. But I couldn't see it. But I ran anyway. I was Lupus. The perfect animal. So I just ran for the thrill of it. The end. Cubs gather around the fire and listen to the story of Maya Borodich, known among the Garou as Enigma of the Bone Gnars, Galliard of the Morning Wolf Mother Pack. She sang songs of honor. Maya managed to negotiate a fragile peace and stop the harvesters, but would it hold? The first protest against the logging of Bialvieza first took place in 2016. The game was loosely inspired by those events. All characters and events depicted in the game are entirely fictitious. Yep, that's it. So that's the game. So fuck! Holy shit! Scare the fuck out of me, why don't ya? Oh crap. Okay, this song is cool and I like it, but something tells me it is gonna get DMCA'd, so I'm gonna stop it. So do we ever find out more about the family stuff? I think we basically just learned all we could. Otherwise, maybe if our goal is more to learn about where we come from, then there's more routes to do that there. But yeah, so that was this game. That was Werewolf the Apocalypse, Heart of the Forest. Yeah, the whole worm thing saying it was hers. Yeah, I don't know. I guess they did leave kind of a lot open-ended, which I guess kind of brings me to my first criticism about this game. I think it's way too short. And that kind of drags it down a lot. And, like, it's unfortunate because it seemed like it was building up to something really cool, or like we were gonna like get a cool werewolf story, but we turn into a werewolf, we choose our tribe and learn our auspice, and then that's it, and then it just kind of stops. Like, I hate to say it, I really hate to say it, but like, in Vampire they're having us fucking do stuff, but here you turn into a wolf and then that's it. I mean, it was still a good story. I just wish there was more of it. Like, a lot more. But whatever. What can you do? I really would like to play this song because it sounds fucking badass and somber and metalish, and it's like sounds cool, but pretty sure that it's gonna get some copyright strikes or something if I play it, so I'm not gonna risk it. Yeah, I felt like there was supposed to be more. Coteries of New York. You learn your rules, your clan, your sept, and abilities all near the beginning. That's what this should have done. Yeah. Yeah, like, Coteries of New York should have, like, had us, like, really just get right into the basics and the nitty-gritty, or at the very least, make discovering the World of Darkness more interesting than it did, and then gives us the cool story stuff. I don't know, I was really hoping that we would actually have, like, story missions and different things that we could play around and do in this game, like in Coteries of New York, but this is disappointing. Especially because it means I have to give fucking praise to Coteries of New York over this game. But then again, leave it to White Wolf and White Wolf's game development to fucking shortchange Werewolf and put every fucking thing they have into Vampire, because Vampire's the fucking moneymaker for God knows whatever fucking reason. I do not get why people love Vampire so much. I really fucking don't. They're just pointy humans that drink blood and complain about everything. And they're inexplicably strong and inexplicably powerful just because they're undead and immortal. Whoopty fucking shit. If you're a fucking spindly ass vampire, you should not be able to fucking take on a giant fucking tank werewolf. I'm sorry, I really fucking hate vampires. Whatever. Well, I guess let's see if there's anything after these credits. In the meantime, I hope you guys all at least enjoyed the story. Is there at least not a way to not look at the face that's creeping me out? Yeah, I got you guys covered. Don't worry. Fucking... Oh, crap. Did I lock myself down? No, I didn't. There we go. Okay. There we go. Much better. But yeah. See, Dover thinks that this icon is like a little creepy looking. I don't know. I still think it's adorable. I mean, I guess I can kind of see it with like the soulless grayed out eyes, but I feel like that just kind of adds to like the charm of the art style, which is impressive considering it's AI generated. Yeah, I know, the choices were very limited, and a lot of them were kind of shitty. I also think a lot of them, like, required willpower that didn't need to require willpower. I don't understand why it's so damn hard to make a decent Werewolf the Apocalypse game. Okay, yeah, so that's about it then. So then, in that case, with that story wrapped up, I can get the music going again. But yeah, Earthblood was decent. I still liked Earthblood, but at the same time, I do see a lot of the problems that people have with it, because it had a lot of the same problems with this, only in like beat 'em up form. It was way too short, and the choices don't really matter or have any relevance. A lot of them are really shitty. Yeah, it does suck that Anya kind of like had to die, but apparently she didn't. But she lives if you're not super good friends with her. But I'm also not fond of that either, because I don't like forced darkness and tragedy for the sake of darkness and tragedy. Like, if something tragic happens, it needs to be the result of my choices directly. But like, it just gave me choices that just like box me into like, oh, she has to die no matter what. It's a little fridgy. It would be more fridgy if we were playing a male protagonist, but we're playing a female protagonist, so that technically kind of sidesteps it a bit, but your point still stands, I think. I don't know, yeah. Maybe it also was because I picked the more pacifistic route, because I'm actually trying to, like, get things done, like, in a politically effective way, rather than, like, go the werewolf eco-terrorism route. But, like, you could have still given me enemies to actually fight while still being a competent political person. I don't know. There's a lot of missed opportunities here, and the fact that this game is as short as it is really kind of disappointing. I wish they had more to it, because this is the framework of something really good. This could have been the fucking werewolf version of Coteries of New York, which meant it could have been the good version of Coteries of New York. This needed, like, some extra stuff. I don't know, I'm not gonna call it bad, but I can't, I'd be lying if I didn't call it disappointing. Still, I am glad I played it, and I did have a good time with it. I just really wish there was more of it. But maybe someday we'll get the Werewolf of the Apocalypse game that we deserve. But until then, we can enjoy all that much more vampire shovelware. Vampire the MOBA! Vampire the Disco Elysium clone! Vampire the fucking Quantum Dreams game style game clone! I will never understand people's obsession and the appeal of vampires. I just don't. At least not as something that you want to emulate, to roleplay as, to become. As enemies, yeah, they're fucking amazing. They work wonderful. Then again, I'm also that weirdo who doesn't see the appeal of, role-playing bad guys and evil people and villains. I like being heroes, or at the very least morally questionable, but still ultimately leaning on the side of doing the right thing. Because, if we're gonna pretend that morality exists, can I at least pretend that I'm the good guy? Sorry if that sounds a bit bleak, but you get my point. But, all in all, I guess what more can you say other than it was pretty good. It could have been better if there was more to do. The story was cut too short, but what story there was enjoyable. Although it probably didn't help that I couldn't keep a lot of the characters straight either. I guess that's another thing. The abstract art was really cool and pretty and very stylistic, but at the same time, it kind of meant that I had a hard time being able to picture and remember and actually, get a feel for all the different characters. You know? But then again, that's just a problem I have with literature in general. It's something I struggle with in terms of the medium a lot. This is why I prefer comics. I need a face to attach, a voice to, you know? And words can't give me that. They can only give me a description of a face, and that will get lost in my brain. In any case, I think we've lingered on this long enough, and I think that will wrap up this book for the Visual Novel Book Club. And with that will also wrap up tonight's session. This seems like a pretty good place to stop. So, thank you guys for tuning in with me and coming along for the ride. Thank you guys for playing Werewolf of the Apocalypse Heart of the Forest with me. And those of you who stuck through with Shining Force, thank you for watching that as well. I hope you guys are enjoying that. I certainly am. And tomorrow we're going to be getting back with more Mario Monday, seeing how much better we can get with that. And, of course, Wednesday there will be Pokemon Rebuilders. So, until then, good night, everybody, and stay safe out there.